And while this can feel momentary, you know, we're having a party. This is one of those things that's like building a skyscraper. I mean, this is big and dynamic and transformative. Although it looks like it might be that immediate scale, it's not. This is the big lift. So we're operating on a lasting scale, I think, when we brought them here. And the other is that I thought people of Salisbury needed that next thing to believe, oh, we're capable of more. Not only do we deserve great, you know, culture and performances and arts and artists, but we're capable of more than we once thought we were. So it was a self-esteem booster. It was about changing the psyche of our community. So in 2017, we became a minority-majority city as well. So, you know, for the first time in our history, white people were the minority. I think, you know, I don't want to say what a wonderful thing, because I don't care who's the majority, who's the minority in race. But what I do care about is that people have a voice. And for a long time, those minority groups, and now a majority group, feels like, you know, we don't necessarily have a voice. And that's true in America. That's not a Salisbury condition, that's an American condition. But in Salisbury, we have an opportunity to do something different about that. And this is a great way to do it. You know, to show, you know, take the camera and pan around and say, I'm sorry, folks, this ain't a white event, this ain't a black event, this is a community event. Everybody showed up. So anybody who wants to pitch a narrative that this is for one group only is going to be proven wrong.
There were so many moments. I get to ride around on a golf cart and do business all day, which is great. But then I also get to drop in and listen to some of the music. Some of the moments, I think one moment that stood out, and someone said it perfectly, it is amazing how strangers have become friends this weekend, and how people that are from all walks of life come together through the music. And I don't necessarily think we've really had that collective experience on such a grand scale. So I think the people moment is what really, you know, the music is there, and it is, you can't even describe it, it's phenomenal. And I have to give a big shout out, thank you Laura Bottinelli, because this was truly something she thought would be impactful here.
The direct exchange that happens from person to person in a festival environment is a beautiful thing. Whether it's from the artist to the audience, to a festival goer, to a volunteer, from a civic leader to a visitor, from a member of an arts organization to a community member they haven't reached, there's this opening up and welcomingness of taking in the new and taking in the different and seeing everyone as equals, and that someone is bringing value and connectivity that is just happening 100 times over, 1,000 times over in the festival site. And that the artists themselves who are making these relationships with our host communities, that those relationships now extend across the country, that people have met in this one moment in time, but then they hold it together for generations to come. The cultural exchange that's going on, even between the artists, that there's the bridging effect it's very intangible, these things. But they're probably some of the most important things that come out of these types of mass gatherings. That people are together, they see one another, they experience this together, and the building of that shared experience, I think, becomes the spark for future social cohesion. I know it's part of the community renewal that's been the success of the National in Salisbury. While the artists were exemplary, it was the exchange and the experience between the festival goers and the artists and the community leadership and the breaking down of these barriers and creating something together that made it really one of the most important things for the community that it's had so far.
This gentleman here is originally from Iraq, one of the cradle of civilization, and now lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to say that this gentleman here several years ago received something called the National Heritage Fellowship which is the highest honor that the United States gives to a traditional artist. How about that? That's Rahim Alaj. And he brought his friend there. He's playing a wonderful instrument called the oud. And then his friend on the santoor, who's from Iran. So we have someone from Iraq and Iran playing together in the United States. It's kind of what music can do. Sarina Safadi, make him feel welcome, please. All right.
Actually, this is fun part of the festival, just because, again, you meet people you have no chance to meet them in life, in real life. You know, from Russia or from Iraq or from Iran. I mean, people they have you don't have chance to meet them. And then when you see this instrument, traditional instrument, you have never actually heard them, maybe, or you heard them but you never see them alive, and you sit with this old master's musician, and we create music in the same minute. It's like, this is amazing. I mean, like, that's how we relate to each other.
I think art generally can be transformative for communities. It really can bring communities together in a lot of ways. It can make them more attractive, more interesting places for people to locate. It can create a sense of community out of it. But I think traditional art has a unique contribution because I think it gets people to get their mind around other cultures, other ethnicities, people that might be somewhat different from themselves.
And so coffee is a means to an end. We have a desire to connect. We have a desire to share. So this is just human connection, humanity in one whole.
And so when you're standing in a crowd that you know is diverse, but that's you over there doing the thing. That's you over there on that instrument. That's you over there, or your dad or your grandfather or your grandmother who's, doing that oyster shucking. Okay, that's cool. That's me. This is us. This is a celebration of who I am and who we are. And I think it also makes it easier to understand your neighbor next to you, seeing an experience like that again might be foreign to you, but okay, that's special to them. And so I'll run into folks that have been here their entire lives who say, I loved hearing the Zydeco band or the Haitian group or, last year the beatboxing. Would I ever, download beatbox, or would I ever subscribe to their YouTube channels? Maybe not for that, person who's been in Salisbury their whole life. But isn't it great that they can appreciate it here?
And in the places I've lived, part of my humanity is invested. I've taken culture from there, I've given mine. As a result, even though I'm from Ethiopia, I'm a global citizen. And we're all entitled. Unfortunately, the isms and the schisms and the flag breaks us apart. But as a human divine, the whole universe is ours. Planet Earth is ours. All the cultures of the world is for us to enjoy and grow with. And so that's why I asked, because by traveling, I've become a better person. By traveling, I have empathy and sympathy. I am more profound. My sense of humanity is global. It's an amazing blessing.
So Saturday was so incredibly beautiful, and there was just so many people, and everyone was happy. And there's a surreal feeling when you get on festival grounds. You start loving strangers, and music does that to you, though. So it's just been, Saturday was a fantastic day, and here we are on Sunday, and we're starting out and we're doing really well. But I can feel the vibration, you know, and the energy that is just rising. One of the things that we do tell the team on Buckets is you only get one bite at the apple. There will only be one September 9, 2019. So we kind of just keep running it until the last note is done. And then we push a little extra.
and I feel good. I feel good about the National Folk Festival. I think it's in good hands. I think it's continuing to do great stuff in American communities at a very tough time in our country's life. Bringing people together to share something and see that, and also to see the diversity of people that have excellence in what they present. And I don't think you have to say much more than that. It's not a matter of contention. It's a matter of the pleasure, the affect, the humanity of the crowd and those on stage, and it's a healing force, really, from my point of view.
Considered myself a very enthusiastic member of the audience. And so why? I mean, it's because you're able to have this connection with the artist and with the people around you that is irreplicable. And if you are, as it relates to traditional arts, that you know that experience and that exchange is somehow also validated through the passage of time and the importance of what that person is bringing and sharing with you from their cultural background, that you can learn and deepen these connections to these people in ways that enrich you and enrich your life forward. So, and music, by the way that it comes through you and in you, is a way that there's not a filter to it. And it can become a very much just a shared and common and beautifully wonderful thing.
So this is a whole aspect of being an artist. You are a human being first, and then if we communicate as a human being first, I think we reach a level of understanding, and then we could do change in this world.